Hi everyone, this is it again. Welcome back. I'm so happy you are listening to me, you are watching me on YouTube as well. Everyone, welcome back again to this crazy story called Life as a Pirate. In the last chapter, I was mentioning about my crazy time on high school, how badly committed I was. I hate study, I hate the school, I hate my life. I didn't want to go any forward because I thought everything was going to be wrong. Right, but also I developed and I discovered something I didn't know until that moment I was having it, and it was basically my speaking, my talking, the way that I could convince everyone out of my mouth. And this is what I was talking about last chapter. This time, it is a turn to talk about my after university time. So how crazy it was, how successful I was. So if you guys wanted to know more about it, stay tuned and follow me. We will tell you right now. Well, after I graduated from college, I thought just having a license or just being certified guide, it was good enough to have a lot of job as I was dreaming of. Obviously, the answer you guys can guess was not. Even that before I graduated from college, I was already guiding a little bit. But I thought after I got my, desired license that proved that I was a certified guide, I was able to work everywhere, just knock a door of a company and just boom, having a big group for like 20 days around the country. And that was not the reality. However, I always stayed focused on what I wanted to do. Was basically I wanted to talk to people, I wanted to meet people, and I wanted to see everyone from different parts of the world. So I was knocking doors of many tour companies. In most of them, they say no way because you are so young. Probably your English was not good enough. Probably you are not experienced even though you're a certified guide, but you haven't met with people at all. So all these limitations for me were kind of awkward. I was a bit disappointed with what I studied. I said, why I just study a lot, and then after that, the reality is like I was not experienced. Well, you probably can understand that this is how it goes in life. It doesn't matter what you study, it doesn't matter what you do, it doesn't matter what you want to be in life, but you need to have experience. And this experience is like you go forward, you go look forward this. It's every day. You have to find a way to convince. Convincing is one of the main elements in life, I guess, to develop, in terms of, you probably haven't talked about it, because you never know when you're going to need to convince somebody. This is what I did, right? But the other way as well that I entered to the major leagues to be a guide was taking different courses, different trainings, different extra skills for me to make a difference. That's also another word that I wanted to share today. It's just to make a difference. So whatever you happen in life, you need to find a way to make a difference, right? Obviously convincing, talking, but making a difference also make a big sense, as the word says. So I picked different trainings. From time to time, I got a chance to meet people, friends, co-workers that were referring to me in other tour companies. So this is when I start working 100% as a guide, right? But you know what? My English, of course, my English is terrible. You guys want to apologize if you cannot understand any word of me. So I'm trying to do my best. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. We are on podcast. We are on YouTube as well. If you guys wanted to see more and check more about us, we are like Guide Ecuador. But remember, guide as a tour guide, with the same E you put together Ecuador, that's the word. I'm a brand here, and I'll be very, very happy you guys check all the content we have on social media, so we give you this kind of welcome for you to check of us anytime. So coming back to the topic, my English was terrible. Well, even though I was certified in English, I was able to talk, not as fluent as now. It took me over 15 years to get the level I have it now. I know I still have to learn. However, I apologize in general if you guys cannot understand certain parts that I'm mentioning right now. But I'm doing all with my heart. I just wanted to share my story, so this is what I wanted to do out of this chapter and out of this podcast. So I was always thinking about making a difference, and I said myself, my French, by the way, I was also guided on French. French for me was way much easier than English. Well, now, je ne pas. I don't speak French at all. So if maybe somebody speaks French, I also want to apologize. I forgot my French, but what I did. So I say I need to go somewhere in the world where people speak English. Well, I cannot say only English, but English majorly. And this is when I decided to make a break in my career, and I decided to move to the US, to the United States of America. So it was very challenging for me because I was there before, just as a tourist, as a regular tourist like you guys also do, whatever you go and travel, pleasure, relax. Everything is nice, everything is pink, everything is organized and safe and good enough. But when you are thinking to move somewhere, to live and experience, the story changes. Right, I cannot say that the United States of America or USA was not good for me. It was perfect. However, I got so many terrible incidents while I was living there that I will tell you shortly. I moved there because I wanted to get the diction. I wanted to get the slang right. That you guys know and understand that each state, or like happening all over the world, each region has its own way of talking. That was something that I got to miss it here when I was guiding. There were several people I was not able to understand. Not saying that they didn't speak correctly. It's like everybody speaks different ways, right? So I moved out of the country, even though against my family, they were not happy with that idea. My dad, I remember one day was saying, you know what, you want to screw up your life. You are a successful guy. You are actually working, and you are comfortable right now. So why you wanted to move? And I said to him, I'm still not feeling confident with my English, and I want to have a difference. I want to make a difference, and I believe that living abroad, I'll be able also to appreciate what I have. So again, I stopped my career and I moved to the States. The first welcome to the States was on Penn Station. I was completely lost. I didn't know where to go. My host family was waiting for me. According to the program, I was supposed to arrive by 5 p.m. and it was already 10 p.m. and I was in Manhattan. Imagine that. I was like running nuts because I didn't know where to go. I couldn't understand anybody. I wanted just to ask an information in the Penn Station, and there was like 2,000 people to ask. Nobody was polite, and I was kind of about of coming back to JFK Airport and just fly home. But then again, I said, I'm stubborn. I'm really stubborn. I said, this is not gonna kick me out of the country, and I will hold it until I find a way of combine and adjust to the culture. To another story, I ended up in my host family around, let's say, 11 p.m. I was desperate. I only got $250 in my pocket. My first expense was to ride a taxi from the Penn Station to the place that I was going to be, nearby Long Island. And it cost me like $160. So out of $250, was not like a good record. I just spent more than half of my budget that I got it for the first moment in just a taxi. Anyway, so I was kind of aggravated at the end when I met the family. Of course, we're strangers for me. I didn't know them. I haven't met them before. Of course, by a phone call, but it's not the same as now as video, right? As you guys are watching now, as you guys are listening to me, so it's more confident, let's say. So by the way, if you have just already arrived to my podcast, I invite you to subscribe and to connect with us. We are like Guide Ecuador. This is all about my story, and I just wanted to share with you. Probably might not be too interesting for some of you, but I just wanted to do this because it's been my dream since I started as a guide. So I'm just right now telling you my life, and this is what is it now? Going back to the topic, so at the beginning, honestly, I couldn't understand most of people. People, even sometimes I ask friends to ask on behalf of me because I couldn't understand. Even though I supposed to speak English and I supposed to understand and talk, but I was kind of freaked. I was kind of nervous and anxious and desperate and aggravated in terms of not understanding. But time passed. I was more confident on my English. I just relaxed and calm down. This is also another advice on life, just to relax and calm down. If maybe something happened with you, and if you are kind of desperate and you don't know where to go, what to do, what I recommend is just relax. Maybe it sounds kind of gross, but relax. This is the way how you can, from my perspective, I'm not a coach, but from my perspective, you just calm down. It's like you let it go a little bit, and then after that, you have a clear panorama of what you should do. Right? This is what I did. To share the story, I did many jobs. However, also I was attending classes, conversational English classes in one of the universities. I'm not going to tell the name because I don't want to do the free advertising. I'm just kidding. No, I was taking conversational classes, English conversational classes with different teachers from different parts of the world, so I could pick this diction, and also I could pick the new accents and the new ways of different ways of speaking in English. So I'm able right now to understand. So that was very important for me in terms of fulfilling my commitment. My commitment moving to the US, as I mentioned before, was to learn in a better way the way of talking, the way of speaking, the way of understanding English, which is like a universal language everybody knows. And in tourism, you also understand that is one of the main requirements, right? If you wanted to work in tourism hospitality, at least you have to speak from your native language, at least English, like a second language. So I studied like 5 months and a half. I was attending classes almost 5 months and a half. And then right between, I was able to stay a bit longer, and this is why I stay almost a year. I tried several jobs, several duties. I cannot say I was working in an office with a suit or something kind of epical or something hilarious. No, all my experiences were hilarious. I always make my life hilarious. Always make the way how I live interesting. Going back to that part, I did several jobs. My first job was to make sandwiches. I was working in a coffee shop where people were making sandwiches, and I learned. Probably you say this is not like a big deal to make sandwiches. Yes, it is. It is a science. Don't even assimilate sometimes in life that everything is normal and as easy as you think, right? Every single thing in life has a reason. Every single thing, every single product needs somebody to make it. This is when I learned that part, because until that, I was considering not a big deal. Imagine to make a sandwich and work for that and get paid out of making sandwiches. It was difficult. At the beginning, it was very difficult. You cannot mix all the things as you think, right? It has a kind of process to make a sandwich tasty and delicious, as you probably might like it, right? That was my first job. After that, out of that, I got to know other people that they referred to somebody else, and then I was able to work as a valet parking. I was a foreman. I was also working in a moving company, carrying a lot of weight, from the attic all the way down to the bottom, moving, to new houses and stuff. That was kind of tough. I was a landscaper as well. I know, about gardening, even though in Ecuador I didn't have any idea. I'm not like a plant fan. However, I learned and I got to know how you have to have a good care of plants and so on. And then there are many other things. Also, I was a kind of Spanish translator for a little bit. That was funny. I was working on a field. It was just lawn moving in one of the fields, and then the owner just came to me and said, "Hey, you speak English?" I said, "Yes, I do." So you look like Mexican, you know. I have to clarify that I'm not Mexican, I'm proudly Ecuadorian. I'm a proudly Latino, I'm a proudly Spanish speaking person, but I am from Ecuador. And he said, oh, that's great, you know, your English is good. I believe your Spanish is perfect. I said, yeah, I do my best because I'm a local. So that was great. Maybe you can come along and help me out with a few things about your language. And say, yo, great. He invited me to lunch, and he was learning Spanish. And he needs some translation in terms of you know, fulfilling some of their homeworks. And this is what I did. I did it for several weeks. I was coming along once, twice a week, assisting him also practicing. I was also practicing my Spanish, because by that time I was mostly trying to speak English, since I was living with people that only spoke spoke English, and few just spoke some Spanish. So that was very helpful for me. Like an advice, whenever you wanted to learn a language, it's as far as you are from somebody who speaks your language, it's worth it. Because this is a way how you can pick it. It's not like thinking too much, it's just basically talking, right? So why I stay longer? Basically, you know, I can spend another chapter just mentioning what I did in the States, but just wanted to summarize of that part. I was committed for two things: to improve my English and to save some money in terms of being able to be back in Ecuador and buy my first car to work as a driver guy. This is what I did. This is why I stay and I work. Actually, I did something like a hitchhike. You know, I started in New Haven, Connecticut, and I went all the way down to Florida. Actually Miami, not even Florida, and fly back to Ecuador. Everybody was saying, you know, you have a brilliant future. Why you don't just stay here? You can come along anytime, and we can assist you. We can help you and support you in terms of you being a successful man. You're a good man. You're honest. You're loyal. You know how important is that? It's super important to be loyal, to be professional, to be committed, right? By that moment, of course, I was always dreaming about coming back to my country and work. And well, it took me almost 12 months, 11 months, something like that. And I came back. I already had a girlfriend as well. I was just very close to stay there, honestly. I was dating a girl from Puerto Rico, and you know, we were kind of chatting and going out dating. It was everything fine. But of course, I got a question for her. I said, you know what? I love you, but I don't want to live here. This is the only teeny tiny inconvenience. And she said the same to it happened the same to me. I love you, but I don't want to go back to Ecuador. I don't want to live there because I grew up here. So, as probably understood, we just broke up, and this is when I just booked my ticket and just flew back to Ecuador. When I arrived here, honestly, the first couple of months, I was not comfortable in Ecuador. Everything, you know, was very different, even though it was not like a century. I was away of Ecuador. However, almost 12 months was like good enough to adjust to the new culture and, you know, get used to several things that here in Ecuador or in Latin America we don't have it, right? So I was really thinking about coming back to the States, even though I was even working again as a guy. I was always sharing to the customers how hilarious was my time in the States. Actually, I will set a kind of chapter about my good things and my bad things that happen in the States. I will do it in the coming some chapters about. I will talk about it, and you know, it's each time that a lot of things come to my mind. I feel annoying sometimes, and also happy, and you know, hysterical to say, you know, it was hilarious. All my time, all my good and bad things were like hilarious. But I'll tell you in my next chapter, really. And then I was here working. I was more confident. By that time, I already had more friends and more other references, and you know, a lot of companies wanted to hire me. By the way, I always thought that the best way to be in the market was, in the tourism industry, the market was like a freelance guy or like a freelance mode. Recommendation sometimes to be a freelancer is not like the best option sometimes. However, I also had a chance to work in one of the by that time kind of big company that was working in Ecuador, and I was part of them for like 9 months. But then I kept thinking about my stubborn way of making things, and I say I cannot be under a boss. I cannot be in a cooperation and being here working and committed every day because I'm like a bird, right? This is why I quit and I decided to find my own job. And by that time I got more experiences, and I definitely did it. And this is when I consider one of my golden years. I was able to buy whatever I want. I of course bought my first car when I came from the US. My first car was not brand new, actually. It was an old one. However, I felt complete that I had a car that was under my name. I got my own vehicle. I say that whatever I want, I was outside waiting for me. But then that first vehicle, within a year, I sold it, and I just bought my first brand new car to work as a driver guy. Actually, it was like one of the four-wheel drives, 209, 206, sorry. That was the year that I bought my first brand new car. I was already in 2022, I think, 22 and a half, and I was the owner of one of the brand new cars. So even my friends couldn't believe that I was able to afford this kind of standard car. So I was very happy with that. Then I bought another one. I had another car. And then I had a motorcycle because I always loved motorcycles even though I didn't know how to drive. So one day I just went to a shop. I asked for a motorcycle, and basically I got one. I remember the guy said, "Are you sure you're able to ride a bike?" I said, "Yes, I do." I didn't. By the way, I didn't. So maybe 3 miles, that was like the ride from the shop to my house because I was still living with my parents. It took me like an hour because I even was not able to use the clutch. I didn't understand that part. I was like blocking the traffic. No helmet, no driver license, nothing. But suddenly I arrived home with a motorcycle. So, from one hand, all chapters I mentioned before, I suffered a lot of struggle, but I was committed. I was strong mind, and I was stubborn at a certain point. I say, yes, we can do it. Yes, I can do it. Yes, I can change it. And this mode, I still have it until now, right? Now I have a company, I have other businesses as well, and I'm still thinking about the way that we could do it better possible, right? I enjoy a lot. It's been over 20 years by now. From the time that I'm talking to you, mentioning about what I did. It's really emotive that all these memories come back to my mind. For me, the impression is that it was yesterday. It was a long time ago, and good memories always in life. Also stick in your memories, not only bad. This is also the advice whenever you have a big problem. Not keep focusing on that. Just focus to go over it, not focus on keep thinking it. This is a two big difference. And and I enjoy a lot. And then of course I met my beloved wife, that until now happily we are married. We have 2 kids that I'm going to talk about the next chapter really. I could do it right now, but I think my family deserves to have one whole chapter about how did we start with my wife, with this dream, the planning a family, even against many people that say no, don't do it, stay single, travel. All these kind of things I'm gonna tell you. Before I go, I just wanted to invite you again. Well, first I want to welcome back to people that have been already following us. I want just to also welcome to people that eventually suddenly end up here at this YouTube channel, because we're on YouTube as well as Guide Ecuador, and also in our podcast as Guide Ecuador, like as a parrot. The idea of doing this is also to share all these memories. You know what? I have shared all these memories, or most of these memories, to many people around my career as a guide, and everybody agrees to saying, you have to do this. You have to share, because there might be people like you that are just watching at me or listening at me that might be interested to get to know about that. Who knows, might be a a guideline for you in life to do it. I mean, I'm not saying that I will be your coach, but I find interesting. It was one of my golden dreams for such a long time to do it, and now it's a reality. I know I'm not a professional influencer or professional speaker, but I do my best. It needs to be as natural as possible. So going back to the topic, next chapter, I'm going to talk about my family. Well, I have my family, brothers and my parents, but I wanted to talk about my family, my first family, my wife and my two kids. I will tell you how I end up with this wonderful family, what we have done with my wife, and what are our dreams, what else are we gonna do. That's gonna happen in the next chapter. So if you wanted to know about this, subscribe to our super podcast, Guide Ecuador. Remember, guide is a tour guide with one E, you put it together, Ecuador, and it's just one. There's not two A's because this is the competition. This is not the original one. The authentic one is Guide Ecuador with one E. You can find us all over on social media. We are on social media. We have our website. We have our company. We have so many things to share, to comment, and also to share with you, which is the most important. Thank you again very much for watching us, listening to us as well on podcast and YouTube, and hopefully, but not hopefully, eventually, not eventually, but definitely, we will see you. We will talk to you in our next chapter shortly. Remember, life is life. Don't get too cranky with things that happen in your life because you will get old too fast. Remember, this is life.